Alright guys, I am back with a tutorial, and today we're going to learn how to make Trinity earrings, that is triangle earrings. This is a stud. It's very simple. You need minimal items, minimal tools. So first off, we're going to start with 2 pieces of 20 gauge wire. This is about 2 inches. And then also 2 pieces of 26 gauge wire, again about 2 inches. And then you'll need 2 beads on the smaller size, and then just 2 earring backs of your choice. You can do this with artistic wire or precious wire, semi-precious, whatever. This wire is copper, and it is this 20 gauge is patinaed. So anyway, we're going to get started, and we are going to start from the flush end of our wire. Okay, and then we need a pair of square pliers. Okay, and we're going to take our wire in our square plier. We're going to line it up flushly. We're going to take it in our square plier like so. We're going to give ourselves just about 1/4 of an inch or so. This part really determines how big the frame is. So if you want a smaller earring, you would do less. If you want a larger earring, you would do more. So I'm gonna do mine right about here. Okay, we're gonna take the long end of the wire and we're gonna fold it down flush to the plier. So we have what looks like this. Okay. Now we're going to take and we're going to place our pliers on the long end, just about in the same position that we had it before. Okay, we're going to hold the wire together so that it's we're bending in the same direction on both pieces. Bending 2 pieces of wire does take some practice, so don't beat yourself up if you can't get it right away. Just keep working at it, and just try and just line it up as best as possible. Okay, so right here I'm going to bend again the long end of the wire, and now what we have looks like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our other hand, and we're going to bend both wires toward both sides of the wire toward each other. Okay, so then what we have looks like this. We're going to separate our triangles. Okay, so we have this. All right, now we're going to take, our plier. Okay, and we're going to straighten out any kinks, twists in the wire, what have you. We're going to make a square bottom, nice square bottom. If it opens up like this, don't worry about it. We're going to fix it back. We want a nice square bottom, and when we fix this, we want to hold and squish. Okay, now we're going to come in and we're going to adjust the top to make sure that the triangle meets nicely, so that it doesn't look kind of funky. And if you notice, we still have a little bit of a curve on this side, so again we'll just repeat until we get it the way we want it. I do apologize, guys, it does sound like I'm trying to beat a storm here. Thought it wasn't coming, but I guess it decided just to show up late. Alright, so this is what we have. Okay, at this point we take our long end, our post part, we put our pliers right at the top where the end meets the long side of the wire. Okay? Can you see how tight that is in there? Like you can't even see. This is the end, this is the short end, and this is the long end. Okay? And what I'm going to do at this point is, again, I'm going to bend just as I did before. Create that angle, and that creates your post. So there you have it. There's your first one. Now if you need to tweak your post, if it's kind of wonky, you just do so with your plier, okay? Like so. And then we're going to repeat the process on the second one. Okay. So again, we just nice and squish it, okay? Then we come in and we squish it all together. Okay, so now on this one we have a curve this way, and we want to make sure that when it all comes together, when it's all said and done, that it's straight. So we just come in and just take the plier and just straighten that out, and then we'll come in here with our hands and just eyeball everything. And then we want to make sure, before we bend our post here, we want to make sure that these are the same size. So we just look all around, checking to make sure that it's the same size as the other one. And it looks pretty good to me. I know it's kind of hard to see with my fingers in the way. So then at this point we take and do the same thing with the post. Let me show you. So we do the same thing with the post. Again, putting it flush down against the short wire. And now we have this. So then we just kind of straighten this out a little. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point because we're fixing to cut it flush. We're going to cut a post with the tail of the wire. So then we have these guys. Okay? So now we're going to hold them together like so in our fingers. Like so. Okay? We're going to take a good pair of snips and we're going to snip it flush and create a post. This depends on what you're comfortable with, where you like your post to hit. I tend to gravitate towards a shorter post for customers' sake. So I just cut the rest off and just set it to the side. And I have this. And now I take a sanding block, and this is just a sanding block from Home Depot. It's for drywall. It's found with the sandpaper. And I sand the burr off of the post. Okay? And then we're going to do the same with the next one. Nice and alright. And we take a steel block of any sort. Any kind of steel will work for this. You just want to make sure that it is steel. These little guys come from Michael's. I think Michael's. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Michael's. And I just use my coupon to grab a bunch of these for my students. They come with little feet that you apply when you get them, so it's nice because it deadens the sound. For my larger steel blocks on my bench, on my workbench, I use leather, but this is nice for the purposes that we're trying to achieve here. So I'm just taking the hammer, the flat end of the hammer, and I'm just coming down and I'm pulling down to get a nice kind of a curve, a flare on the curve there. And then I want to take and I want to hammer the entire thing, okay? So I do not hammer the post on my studs, just my ear wires when I make ear wires, okay? You're just coming straight down with the hammer and just hitting at this point. You're not flaring. Okay, so that is what we have there for that one. We're going to do the same exact thing for the second one. We're going to hammer and pull, hammer and pull, hammer and pull. Okay, so here it opened up. That's okay. We just take our finger and we just squish it back together. We lay it back down and we hammer again. Okay, that looks decent. So there we go. That's what we have for that one. So we have two matching because we made them simultaneously. We have two matching triangles. Now the only thing about freeform wire work is that you're not going to have two pair that are exactly the same size. This is a pair that I made earlier, so it's much smaller. I haven't hammered that, but and then this one's even smaller. So again, it depends on where you want it, and a lot of people sometimes what they'll do is they'll, you know, I mean, you can measure, of course, you can measure where, you know, use a ruler and measure exactly where you want your size to be. So where you make that first bend, where you place those pliers for the first time, when I did this, that is what made the decision as to where, how big the frame was going to be. So we're going to move on. We have one last little thing to do, and it's a tiny bit of wire wrapping. So we're going to take our 26 gauge wire here, and we're going to place it on the frame on the post side. So where the post is, we're going to place it flat across the entire frame. Then we're going to take the short tail of the 26 gauge wire and we're going to fold it over and pull it through the center of the frame. Using pliers here makes it a lot easier. Okay, and then we're going to wrap one more time. So we're going to pull it back through. We're going for 3 times. We're going for a coil of 3. So there we are finished right there. We have 3. We're going to tighten it up and make it look all nice and pretty. We're going to tuck that tail in the back. We're going to cut it flush with our snips. So just like that. And we're going to do what's called tucking, or what I call tucking the tail, is where you place your pliers. This is a regular pair of pliers. We're going to place our pliers on that tail, and we're going to take our hands and squish, and we're going to roll with our wrist, and we have a nice flush roll. And then we come in the front and we make sure that our tail is not sticking up in the front, which we didn't. It's nice and tucked right there on the side. We're going to tighten up our coil. Nice and pretty. Okay, So you probably can't see this on the camera, but our tail is tucked right in there on the side of the wire. So that's good. That's where we want it. Don't want it to poke anybody. So we have a kink in our wire here. So all we do is we take the plier and we just straighten it out. Okay. So then we're going to take our bead of choice. We can use several beads depending on how big our frame is. I like to take one bead and put it at the top of these guys. You could come across the bottom with a bunch of teeny tiny little seed beads or something. Do something funky. And then we're gonna hold everything together tightly. We're gonna take the wire, place it on the top of the frame again, and pull it through just like we did before. Just remembering that this side is the side that's open. So if you pull too hard, you're going to bend your frame all out of whack. Okay, then we're going to do it one more time. Tighten the coil up nice and pretty. Okay, then we're going to take it around to the back. We're going to cut it flush, like so. Take it out of the way. Okay, then we're going to take it and we are going to again place the plier on the tail, roll with our hand, with our wrist, and tuck that tail in there nice and pretty so it doesn't stab anybody. Oh, one thing we did forget to do, and that's okay, we can go ahead and do it now, is we forgot to sand the patina. If you are not using patina metal, or you don't, if you don't want to take the patina off, then you don't have to do that part. But anyway, you just sand the patina off. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. I will finish up the other one, and then I will show you guys a picture at the end of this video. And, I'm going to let you go since it's pouring rain, and I will see you for the next one. Stay safe and keep creating, guys.